Melania Trump breaking the mold with her plans to be the first long-distance First Lady, at least for a little while. President-elect Trump telling reporters his wife will stay behind in New York City at least until June so the couple's 10-year-old son, Barron, can finish school. Earlier this year, she told Us Weekly that her son is the priority and she wants to maintain some normalcy for him. All right, Kennedy, should we be protesting this in the street, or is this maybe no big deal?
I think on one hand, I think it's wonderful that she is choosing to keep his life as normal as possible, because his life is going to be turned upside down, you know, and as a parent who was traveling across the country every single week,
right,
it was a tough decision to decide whether or not I was going to keep doing that for 6 more months or move to New York City in the middle of the school year. We chose to do exactly what she's doing, and I think there are a lot of moms who have a great deal of respect for that. I feel bad for some of the people in their building who are now going to have to be subject to the Secret Service surveillance state.
Absolutely.
And I understand that the traffic's going to be rough, but, you know, it's like, who are we to say?
Yeah, I mean, plus it's for maybe till the end of the school year. I mean, maybe she'll reassess it then. What do you think about it?
I mean, this is not a story that I can get all that worked up about. And again, going back to the intellectual consistency thing that I was talking about earlier, we heard from a lot of people on the left for the last 8 years that conservative complaints about lavish, expensive overseas vacations or to Hawaii or whatever for the Obamas, that was petty, that was nasty, you shouldn't question that sort of thing. This is just a mother and a father making a decision for their child. It's going to cost taxpayers more. Yes, it will. And that's something that we can acknowledge. But I don't think it's a scandal. I think it's a reasonable family decision being made in the best interest of that child who's been swept up in this surreal experience of his father being elected president.
How about not judging the decisions that a mother and a father make about their kid? Right? And that's what it boils down to, is this is their decision, period. And I agree with you that when President Obama would go to Martha's Vineyard and people would criticize him for being on vacation or being away, I hated it when the left did it to George Bush when he'd be at the ranch. Regardless, I just think these men and their families, they work hard, they're under a lot of pressure. If they need to be away, then, you know, take a vacation.
Melania strikes me somebody who didn't ask for this, didn't want it. By all accounts, likes her life. I think got swept up in this. By all accounts, is a fabulous mother from everything that we've heard about her. And I'm actually happy to say that we haven't heard much about her, which is wonderful, because I think she values her privacy. If she wants to stay in New York, let her stay in New York. And I mean, this little boy wants to.
Well, that's why I found it.
Let him do it. The only thing I will say is it will cost taxpayers, I think, $3 million. Secret Service will have to pay an extra $3 million to Donald Trump to lease the top 2 floors of Trump Tower. So let's acknowledge that if we were going to be hypocritical about how much money Obama was going to spend on his vacations, we can acknowledge this is going to cost taxpayers also, as you said, Guy. But other than that, in terms of her decision and the decision that she makes for this little boy, God, leave him alone.
You know what? He's a little kid, and he's essentially an only child.
Yeah, leave him alone.
And we saw, you know, the Obama's children, they were quite young when they got into the White House. And, you know, the Bush children were a little bit older. Chelsea Clinton, I think, is a little bit more of a direct comparison. And it's always tricky. And it's tricky for Amy Carter, and the Carters living in the White House. But one thing I wanted to add, what you said about Melania, I feel the same way. And it's why I hated that professional coat hanger Gigi Hadid making fun of her in that way, because it wasn't funny and it was mean.
It was mean. It was very, very mean. And you know what? Nobody likes when people are mean. More Outnumbered in just a moment.